Alright, and welcome back to another Westworld reaction. Today I'm going to be reacting to episode 3 of season 1, and it is titled The Stray. So last episode we got to see more of Dr. Ford interacting with people in the park, turning down ideas for this bombastic kind of shock value storyline that one of the employees had planned in favor of something new that I'm assuming we're going to see in this episode. He definitely seems very conscientious about people and what they could actually be getting out of coming here, as opposed to the reasons people come, which, as we've seen, are somewhat for just cheap thrills. Dolores passed on her bit of information about these violent delights will have violent ends to Maeve, who is now kind of malfunctioning herself, and they want to recall her because, well, I think in general people aren't as interested in her as one of the prostitute bots for whatever reason. She's turning people off with her different little weird spacing out things, and she woke up when they were working on her, and that caused quite the hullabaloo, which I think isn't necessarily going to help her case that she should just be recalled or put off to the side now, but at the same time I'm sure it's going to give her a lot of agency in the story, because she got loose and saw all the other animatronics that were being worked on and in their containers and everything. So she clearly, I'm sure that's going to be somewhere in her memory. Dreams are based on memories. They built these robots better than they thought they did. I'm sure that's going to appear somewhere. And also, we know now the Man in Black is searching for the maze that was found on the inside of a scalp. And season 1, as we know, is called The Maze. So I'm hoping to figure out a little bit more about what this maze even means, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Ford might be he's got something up his sleeve that might explain it a little bit better. I don't know. But this series has been very interesting so far, as looking at the worst tendencies that can come out in people when they don't think that there's consequences to their actions, because they're not dealing with real people. But what does it say about you that your big thrill is shooting something that looks and feels so human and to cause harm to it for excitement? Like, I don't know. Some people would say that you're being overly sensitive because they're not real, but at the same time, I think that's part of the whole moral conundrum of the show. But yeah, I am going to start the 3rd episode now. Here we go. I actually know how to read.
Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night.
Not living the same day over and over again.
Your son. Where is he now? Questions are an ingratiating scheme.
You see? Continue, Dolores.
Was I the same when I got up this morning?
I can see why he doesn't want anyone to know about these conversations. Like, why on earth are you? Or literature talking about change, unless you want there to be change, and program it into her mind. Because the rest of them don't seem to.
Holy shit!
Popped your cherry.
Okay, does everything you say have to sound
I just
gross
simply couldn't get shot.
and obnoxious?
You can't get
Apparently.
It wouldn't be much of a game if they can't shoot back.
How do you feel? Alive? Tight in the pants.
God.
Terrified.
That's why they exist, man. So you get to feel this.
Come on. Let's go put some memories in that spank bank. Trust me.
Oh my fucking god.
Sister for a year. Actually, I have something different.
Does he think about anything else?
That?
Oh, you've been preaching nonstop about all the narratives in the park, but all you've done since we've arrived is fuck and drinks.
I'm waiting for the good stuff. This bounty's JV shit.
Let's stay here. Go on a little adventure.
Alright. He's gonna go do his own adventure.
I've been looking for you.
I got a late start this morning. Didn't get much sleep last night.
Forgive me if I'm not sympathetic to the fluctuations of your sleep cycle, Mr. Lowe.
No. I pulled the narrative logs. All 6 of these hosts were part of storylines over the years in which they killed Walter. It's like he was holding a grudge.
Memories. I just realized, so back in the summer of 2021, I decided that I thought a fun graduation from college night out for myself would be to go see Reminiscence, and Lisa Joy, who's a showrunner in here, wrote and directed that movie, and that movie was all about memories. I'm sensing a theme with her writing. That's not a complaint about this, but definitely she likes to return to themes, I think.
You and your dickless associate proposing to engage me in a gun battle.
Well, I challenge you to a fist fight, but the way I heard it, you only like to tussle with working women.
Oh.
Is he dead?
Dead enough.
Why are we gonna
I
hit
like how he referred to her as a dickless associate. Like that's an insult.
That's merchandise.
But I doubt she wanted people to think she had a dick anyway.
All right, which of you derelicts hitched a dead body outside my saloon?
Probably most of them.
I figured it was preferable to bring it in.
What if I don't want to stay here? Just sometimes I feel like the world out there is calling me.
Well, someday I'll take you.
Well, if we have change, then maybe you'll actually be able to do those things and just instead of just talking about them.
You said someday. Not today or tomorrow or next week. Just someday.
Before I met you, Dolores, I was a different man. And I got some reckoning to do before I can deserve one.
Okay, we've kind of seen this before. Well, she didn't stay put. Dolores, listen to your man.
Because we never actually bothered to give you one, just a formless guilt you will never atone for. Perhaps this time you had a worthy story of origin.
That would be
Would you like that,
nice.
Annie? A small part of my new narrative. A fiction which, like all great stories, is rooted in truth. It starts in a time of war.
Okay, not. There's a plane flying over. Okay, not to interrupt because I'm sure it's about to get really juicy, but oh my gosh, this excites me a lot because I think Ford is definitely the key to getting these characters into a richer storyline, which is obviously what it's all building to, especially what with the way that they're malfunctioning and remembering things and becoming more and more human. I think this is what his perspective on it is pretty worthy of merit, and maybe congratulations isn't the word, but it makes it a lot more interesting and fulfilling as a service, I think, and especially since I think he recognizes the way AI are growing and not just these stationary animatronic things that you'd see at like Disneyland that are only doing what you tell them to do and can't give any sort of real response. It would be almost irresponsible for him, since he seems like someone of ethics, to not pursue giving them something fuller and deeper. It's just more interesting anyway, but I digress. I like him a lot, Ford. Maybe I won't as time goes on. Maybe I'm just being tricked. But I want to see, if I went to a park like this, or if I worked for a park like this, I would think it would be a more admirable thing to actually give these characters like rich depth, because if we're going there for how lifelike and real they feel and how it feels like true escapism, you have to go all the way, I think, at least in my opinion.
I'm sorry. I have to get home. My father will be expecting me.
We won't be.
Shoot, gonna learn to shoot.
We're just gonna learn how to stand.
Daddy won't always be there to come defend his woman. Gotta do it yourself. Program.
Now take a breath.
So it's kind of
Hold it.
weirdly sick.
Now squeeze.
I can't.
Literally won't let you. Your programming
Sometimes
won't,
pull the trigger. Perhaps it's for the best.
or you don't want to. Wouldn't be enthralled by the idea of going up against somebody who has never been beaten
I'm gonna come back for
before,
you.
as opposed to staying here with your
Someday
boo.
soon.
I can't. My need to get shot in the head overwhelms me. I'm being reductive and stupid, but that's funny.
I got a pit.
So, once again, I interrupt, but hey, we're transforming the work here. So that's really interesting, something that's yet to come, and the uniforms, like, it's pretty clear what we were seeing there. So do they like recycle at these things? I'm probably way off, but do they recycle? Like they take, because I'm assuming at a company this size, maybe Westworld might have other parks or past parks maybe. Like, you know how I've never been to Disneyland, but I hear that sometimes they'll take animatronics from past things that were like around for like 10, 20 years, and then they'll like repaint them and like recycle what they are, or they'll redo an area in the park and change it from like, oh, Snow White's adventure to Frozen or something like that. And if you are using the same basic characters and using them from one park to another, and they keep having these like bubbling memories come up from past storylines, times things didn't go right in the storylines, like with guest interference, just general glitches that they're remembering, then that could be an interesting thing, like a past life or something coming in. Again, I'm probably somewhat off on that, but that's a really interesting idea.
What can I do for you, Bernard?
On the flip side, he definitely lays into the whole "well, they're not real" thing too, so he's complicated. Oh, D&D? Got figurines?
The truth about this situation.
Like it.
Well, I did tell you the truth, Bernard. What we do here is complicated. For 3 years, we lived here in the park, refining the host before a single guest.
Okay, so there's more layers to this than I thought.
How hard it is getting an open line out here.
You used to annoy me.
And there's more nuance to my thoughts on Ford that
You're
I'll
always
have
so
to
busy.
Now?
select before I get to. Oh,
I suppose I'm glad for you. At least you have a way of forgetting.
I don't forget. It's always there.
Sometimes
I swear to God, she's in
it still feels
everything.
unreal to me.
This pain.
That's how you don't let someone go, is remembering them. Fortunately, it can really hurt to do that, but to think about them, but I don't know. Do you forget everything that was ever good just to avoid the hurt?
Why the hell would he call?
Lose all scripted responses. Improvisation only.
All right. You're saying I've changed?
Imagine there are two versions of yourself. One that... Analysis. What prompted that response?
I don't know. Have I done something wrong? Made a mistake?
Evolution forged the entirety of sentient life on this planet using only one tool. Mistake. Appears you're in good company before someone misses you.
Up having these talks with her, I don't think. Where?
Well,
Where?
some sand after all, I see.
Is she gonna be able to?
Trouble?
Why don't we reacquaint ourselves, Dolores? Start at the beginning.
No.
back here.
Out there.
Stop! Shit. Get the fuck away!
Better run fast. Oh damn, oh my god. Get up! Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Yeah, if you're jerking off like you say, your balls should be empty and you should not be so fucking horny.
Hey, maybe I'll even get to use that thing again.
Focus. Okay, yeah, so it's a little bit later, but my thoughts on that episode were, wow, wow. The, where do I even start? Man, so, yeah, Dolores is, I'm sure, just in an absolute state, technology-wise. She's been shot. Which, I mean, that was part of the plan, I assume, that she wouldn't have been able to defend herself properly, and they purposely put Teddy into a different location than he usually is when that story plays out, when her home is invaded. But she's already got so much going on that I feel like the whole thing that, you know, she's wandered off and collapsed in front of those two, that this is just going to be the beginning of some kind of deeper traumatic thing going on in her system. Especially since so much of this episode was focused on her being able to describe a little bit better the inner machinations of her dreams and memories, and what's his name? Yeah, Arnold. Sorry, Arnold. He already anthropomorphizes his creations, which is easy to do because they're extremely lifelike and capable of learning through conversations. And he keeps reading literature to her about change and all that. And I think, obviously, he's not too happy with the way things are going, and he's got a lot of his own trauma he's working through, and he's kind of trying to project some of that need for connection onto her, and then he feels like it's futile because then he goes to the whole thing Dr. Ford does, that they don't feel and they don't think, but then she shows evidence that she's starting to, and so then he falls back into it. I don't know. I really want to know what Ford's whole plan for his new storyline is, because having Teddy go on some mission, leaving Dolores to be get massacred on her own, I don't know. I can't imagine that a part of his plan was to have her just wander off and be found by, yeah, to have her just be found by Logan and William. But I'm sure that'll connect to her own storyline that's kind of happening without without the park's programming help. Her own storyline that she's kind of already been conducting, aside from the written one. She's so dazed and wandered so far. Obviously, it can't be just like her real injury, simulating a real injury that would have killed her, and she would have gone back to the reset for the next day. But clearly, I don't know, things are going weird. Like her pulling the gun out of the haystack and all that. Yeah, I don't know. It's so much going on, and I had so many thoughts during the video, but there's a couple things that are throwing me for a loop like that. Ford, I initially was talking about how I think he's a man of morals and he like really cares about the park, and I still believe that, but I don't know, he clearly is not into the idea of humanizing these animatronics in the way that Arnold is. In fact, he's very callous about it. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, maybe it sounds like I'm being overly sensitive because they're not real, but I feel like even the show's framing, it's callous. Like, he's the side of it that's constantly reminding you they're not real, and so that's supposed to make that conundrum in your brain, like you're hearing it reinforced, something you know that they're not real, but it still feels weird to treat something that looks and behaves so human in a callous manner, because everyone is naysaying about these animatronics becoming more human, and yet nobody can seem to figure out quite what's wrong, and people like Arnold are feeding into it. And the proof is in the pudding, it's right there. It's Dolores is having these glitches, so is Maeve, and they're remembering things when they shouldn't have memories in the way that we do, but it's only like a glitch in the technology that it's got like little leftover things that aren't deleted. But at the same time, the fact that they can change and learn things along the way and have these conversations that they could possibly grow from, and those don't get deleted, that would be evidence that they can retain things. I don't know. I want to know what Ford's greater idea for the storyline is. That way, I analyze that. Maybe I'll send a little less convoluted in the future. I don't know. But I was happy to see William